Good afternoon, ma'am, and good afternoon, everyone. So I welcome our special guest, Dr. Ameeta Thacker, ma'am. So she is an hypnotherapist, and she will guide us how our mind, body, and everything about our self can be understand well. And over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Kushi. Thank you for reaching out and making all the efforts. So, thank you, Ms. Nalwala. Thank you for your presence here. And I'm very, very grateful for each one of you for really taking time to really come and know about this subject, which is very dear to me too. And it's very heartening to know that all the aspiring graduates, and I believe they are all entrepreneurs on their way, yeah, and wanting to know about hypnotherapy because of what I understand, your subject is textile and designing.
Yes.
And hypnotherapy seems to be like chalk and cheese right now. But it was very, very heartening to hear from Kushi that we are interested to have this class. And so, all the more, I have a little curiosity as to what are these students looking to know about hypnotherapy in one line, if they can say. And then I would proceed with my presentation and I'll try to see where I can address every question possible.
Okay. So I'll pass the phone. Okay, you can tell your name, introduce yourself, and what do you want from this session? Okay, just throw a question to Matt. Okay, it's very new for all of us. Okay, so if you have any question related to yourself, maybe stress, managing stress, whatever. So just keep it very short and brief. Introduce yourself and then ask a question to Matt.
Hello.
So my name is Sanika.
Yes.
And as hypnotherapy is very new concept for me, so I want to know how exactly an hypnotherapy works and how my body will react to this whole therapy, how it will help for my stress.
How it will help for your stress. Okay.
Hello, ma'am. I'm Shreya.
Hello. Hi.
I am actually, this topic is very new and we've never had a session on this before. So I just wanted to know how it can help us in our daily lives and how can we actually practice this, or how is it?
Okay. Noted.
Hello, ma'am. I am
Hello.
Neha.
Yes, Neha.
I'm just excited about this session. Hypnotherapy is something which is totally new concept for us. So it would be great if you tell us what it is and how we can relate it to our stress management.
Awesome. Thank you, Neha.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Your name is?
So, Khadija.
Khadija. Yes.
As they have mentioned that this is a very new subject to us, so I'm just curious to learn what it is and how it can benefit us in our daily lives with our sleep management as well as stress management.
Okay. Sleep and stress. All right.
Hello, ma'am. Megha here.
Yes, Megha.
So I'm completely unaware of the hypnotherapies, what I've seen in movies and serials. So what exactly is and
movies and
how it can
serials.
help, yeah, how it can help individuals. So again, new topic. Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm
Good
Kamaksha.
afternoon. Yeah.
And I'm just excited to learn about hypnotherapy. Like, I don't know what hypnotherapy is. So I'm just excited to know.
Lovely.
Good afternoon,
Good
myself
afternoon.
Sudipta. So this topic hypnotherapy seems very fascinating to me. So I wanted to know more about it.
Thank you.
So good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
I'm Marsha. So basically, my question would be for like what is hypnotherapy, how it works, and how
is it related to stress and hypnotherapy? Like how it goes hand in hand together?
Okay. And I missed your name.
Mimansha.
Mimansha, lovely. So that's what I'm going to start with. What is hypnotherapy, how it works, and stress. Primarily, that's the focus today. So thank you for the question.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Alexia
Good
here.
afternoon.
My
Good
question is definitely about what hypnotherapy is, and just like how my friends mentioned, how it can help us with our daily lives, and how we can be more mentally stable.
Hmm.
So that would be my question.
Awesome. Noted.
Ma'am, could
So,
Yes,
ma'am, you
Pushti.
have heard me saying that it is a new topic.
Hmm.
So, same as my friend said, what is it about all? Please, ma'am, tell me.
All right. This is the class monitor or class boss who has been contacting me. So thank you, Kushi. So can we begin? Then I would I would take a moment if you can give me to share my presentation. Okay. Just give me one moment. Okay, can you all see? Just give me a
Yes,
minute.
ma'am.
Yeah, I think I had to do the slide share. Just a second.
Ma'am, are you speaking to me?
Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay. So, good afternoon once again to everyone, and welcome to the session of decoding and managing stress through hypnotherapy. The focus here is first to understand hypnotherapy, and I think mental health awareness is growing by its popularity day by day, and hence even the scope of hypnotherapy. So I'm going to focus a little bit about first on the mind, because all hypnotherapy is about mind. And if there is one part of each one of you and every one of us where we cannot fight it out, where we cannot run away, where we cannot ignore, where we cannot even, dare to even let it go without acknowledged, is the part of each one of us is the mind. So mind plays a crucial role in our life. If you really hear the motivational speakers talking about how to achieve success in life, then they all are talking about using your mind. If you hear from the spiritual point of view, it's a very interesting. The spiritual seekers and gurus will talk about dropping the mind. So it's kind of contradictory, but it only indicates one thing, that this mind as a, you know, a, an entity is extremely crucial for the human life. Because if there is something that can really make you or break you, is mind, isn't it? So let me just start focusing on how this mind works, or rather, what is all about the mind. So who is a human being, or who am I? When we talk about human being as a person, I am a soul, I am mind, and I am body. And at a given moment, we are just the package deal of these three aspects, which is constantly interacting. Now, you cannot make out from this personality and this body where is soul, where is mind and body. But there is one thing which is very clearly visible is the body. And that body is like a hardware. We all know the computer. We have a hardware and that computer has a software. So the software of this is mind. And there is something that needs to keep it on is the power supply. So the soul is the power supply. Now we have no issues with soul because soul as such does not need any therapy or any healing. Soul is always love and light, right? When it comes to the aspect of body, we know how to deal with the body by and large. When something happens to the body, of course, we have to feed the body. We have to clean the body. We all know that. We repair the body when it is broken up or damaged. We pop pills. So it's kind of okay to fix the body to some extent. But what is very difficult for every one of us over the years that we have realized that mind plays a great role in influencing every aspect of the life. It begins with our body itself and how we relate with people. Because when we are talking, we are thinking and talking, or sometimes we are not thinking and talking. That's funny, isn't it? So mind can make you or break you. The focus is what part of the mind is what we are talking that can make you or break you. And so let's understand a little bit about it, because the key to life mastery is mind mastery. Now, what is mind? If I would have to address the class, I would have actually waited for people to respond, but I think it's an online session. So again, you'll have to pass on your mobile. So let's understand from my end. I'll first discuss it and then I'll open the forum for a few questions. So the mind actually, by the way, has aspects which are something to do with thinking, analysis, remembering or recalling. It has something to do with processing, programming. So when we talk about all these different functions of the mind and we are not aware of how to use it, we also are aware that there are times when the mind is awake and there is mind which is sleeping, isn't it? So there are states of mind which is awake and sleeping, and there are functions of mind. And hypnotherapy is actually going to guide you to a certain state of the mind, which is called as hypnosis. In fact, what you all would have heard about hypnosis. Again, I would have loved to hear from all of you. What have you thought or heard about hypnosis? Is it control? Is it manipulation? Is it attracting? Hypnotize कर देंगे हम किसी को hypnotize करके ये करवा दे, वो करवा दे. काफी लोगों ने वो सुना होगा. Seduction, attraction, getting secrets out, making do things what you want to do, or behaving like monkey. If you would have seen some programs where stage hypnosis is conducted, they call people on the platform and make them jump like monkey, or make them do things which they are not ready to do. Or is it black magic? Let me tell you, hypnosis is nothing like this. This is all that is portrayed apparently in a very negative format, because this is how it has been perceived up till now. First and foremost, hypnosis is a state of mind. It's a state of altered awareness, or rather, just as you have an awake state. I spoke just 2 minutes back. There's a states of mind. You're all awake. I believe you all are eyes open and awake. And there are times you go to sleep, which means your mind is not working. And between these two states is the third state, which is the altered state of awareness, called as the hypnotic state. And that state accesses a part of the mind predominantly, which is the subconscious. And how is it done? It is done by bypassing your conscious and the critical mind. The word mind here is missing. Excuse me for the slide that has been. So it's bypassing the conscious mind and the critical mind. So hypnosis is first and foremost, as most people consider hypnosis as a taboo, because they are only associating with what they have perceived as an action done with a certain negative outcome. And that is applied because people are applying with that intention. So just as, science has a blessing and a curse, science has also come to an understanding that there is a state of mind, which is a hypnotic state, which is the third state besides the awake and the sleep state. Which means what? Which means hypnotic state is naturally within us. Only thing that we have been told is hypnotize kar denge ya kuch ho jayega, and this only about what is done to you. People are not aware there is naturally a state occurring within us during the time that we are awake, and while we are sleeping, obviously the mind is completely in a sleep state, and which is what the hypnotherapist has learned to use that state and to induce that state so that we can make the best out of it. Now, why do you want to make use of that state? Because this state of mind is accessing the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is the most underrated because of several reasons, because you don't even know how it exists and where it exists. As I told you, all that you see is only this body. But there is a software of the mind which is taking control of this hardware, including the brain. So the brain and mind are two different things. The brain is like a hardware, a device which is being operated through the software of the mind. Imagine a hardware without a software. What function it will do? It will do like a typewriter. But we know computer has such a big utility in our day-to-day life because it has three aspects. It has a processing mind, which means if you see the computer has a CPU. Let me just go to that first. Can you all see the slides clearly? Just one of you can just raise the hand and tell me so that I know
Yes,
that I'm
ma'am.
okay. Great, that's it. Because I realize the font is little, lighter, but it's okay. We'll proceed with that. The computer has three aspects. It has the CPU, which is the central processing unit. It has a software and a hardware. So a computer is a conglomeration or a compact device which is of processing part, a programming. You cannot imagine a computer, using a computer without a program. The first thing when you go to buy a computer, what do you see? Which program it is, what kind of a program it is, what software it is, right? And it has a storage part also. It has a hard disk because you need to store all the information that you have been putting inside it for the sake of programming, or it is programmed in a way to use for a certain purpose. And it uses the processor. Okay, so if this is what is understood of the computer, and I think everybody would be very well aware, right? The mind can be understood based on that. So the mind has a processing mind, which is the conscious mind. It has a hard disk, a storage memory unit, which is the subconscious mind. And the mind has a critical mind, or it is like a critical filter. You know, nowadays we are all obsessed with filters, no? With our photographs and how we look. So there is a critical part of the mind which is filtering the data that is given into the software and the processor of the mind. And that's called as the programming mind. Now, I will come to this a little more. But before that, since I have been on the topic of hypnosis, and I highlighted the part that hypnosis is that state of the mind wherein the conscious mind remains dormant. Now, if you see, the conscious mind is the processing mind. The programming mind is also suspended. So what is active in the hypnotic state is the subconscious mind. Now you will understand what is the use of this part of hard disk here, because basically you always underrate the hard disk or the memory unit. But the subconscious mind has several functions which many of us are not aware. So I'm going to first take on in depth a little more understanding of the subconscious mind, because inducing a state of hypnosis or being in a state of hypnosis, you know, in a day-to-day life, how many times we are in an autopilot mode? When do you start your day? Apparently, I believe everybody wakes up and brushes the teeth. Do you really think about it? It's an autopilot activity. While you get ready, you're bathing, half the time your thoughts are going somewhere else. And you are doing your autopilot function of your day-to-day chores, bathing. Some of you would be driving. When you have learned driving, you learned with a conscious mind. You learned with putting your, what is to be done, how it is to be done. So, and then you processed it for 21 days. That's why you are coach for driving. And then when you learned it, it turned into a autopilot state. Today, when you have to get out, you're busy talking on the call on one ear, taking the hand, a key, putting it on the ignition key, and then driving the car or the scooter or whatever it is. And you are on an autopilot activity. Are you aware what part of the mind is taking care of it? The subconscious mind. Your day-to-day functions of your life. What are the functions that are keeping you alive? Your respiratory rate, your respiratory functions, your circulatory functions, your digestive functions. All these life-sustaining functions are influenced by the subconscious. Can you see the significance of the subconscious mind? Now, there are a lot of involuntary activities, repetition of some activity that is required for your skill building. Something that you keep doing it every day, it becomes a part of you, is again the subconscious mind. So, can you see the significance of the subconscious mind? We are constantly focusing on the emphasis of thinking mind, processing mind. क्या सोचा, क्या प्लान किया? अब पूछो आप अपने आप को कितना प्लान और कितना प्रिपेयर किया और कितना सक्सेसफुल किया? How many times have you been successful for everything that you planned? I'm sure everybody would have prepared for your test, examination, your submissions. And you will say, okay, these are the days, ma'am, we will give you the submission because you prepared. I'll do this many days. And how many times are we successful? Unfortunately, I'm not able to see your faces. I believe some of you can just come closer and tell me, yes, ma'am, we did it. Is somebody who's very successful in implementing all the plans and preparation? Yes or no? How many?
No, madam.
1 out of 10 only said no. So I'm not going to judge you, but I think most of the times we all are not finding, ability to execute what we want to do or what we plan to do or what we think to do. And what stops you is basically your own mind. And your own mind creates the plan. Isn't it funny? Paradox? Because we have both these parts of the mind. We have a preparing and a planning mind, which is the conscious mind. We have a programming mind, which is programmed in a certain way. I'll come to that. And there is a huge part of the mind. Why do I say huge? Because the subconscious mind is 88 to 90% of your mind. Can you imagine? And the conscious mind that you keep thinking, planning, preparing, and sometimes you feel a lot, you calculate a lot, you logicize a lot, is 10 to 12%. Which is why logic fails many a times, which is why our plans fail, which is why all the thought and all the well-meaning preparations fail sometimes. I think some of us do it very well if they have mastered it in a certain way. That's the role of the subconscious mind. And because our New Year resolutions don't really go beyond our January 1 or 2 or 3, right? We all joke about it. So let's explore a little bit about the subconscious mind now. And yeah, before coming to that, the use of subconscious mind makes you empowering your life and every part of you. And it is actually facilitating you to make your mind aware, accept, and get clarity. Why? So that you can choose to respond. Now, these are every word. I have deliberately added every word with awareness and with clarity. And if you want, you can make a note of these words, because I know in a very short, brief class, perhaps you may find what are these words meaning. But I wanted to emphasize today that hypnotherapy is not about disempowerment, not about control, not about manipulation, but using your subconscious mind for empowering. How to empower you? So that you can be much more aware of what you are not aware of, why plans fail, why preparations fail, why resolutions fail, and what is it about it that is not letting you accept you yourself. Because when you fail, what do you conclude? I'm a failure. When you are not able to do certain things, what do you conclude? I am worthless. When you feel not good about you, do you have clarity? No. So you get more confused and then you respond with your immediate response is whatever that you feel. So many a times you don't want to say something. Many times you don't want to get angry about something. Many times you don't want to share what you actually feel because it's not the right place. But you just do it impulsively. So you don't know how to take charge because the subconscious mind comes over and takes control of you. So now you will say, is it your enemy? Well, it is not. I just told you it's your friend. It's just that how do you use to learn, or rather, how do you learn to use your subconscious mind? Is what hypnotherapy is about. It is about giving you conscious awareness of all those patterns and choices that you may have had or you may have now from past or present that are keeping you on a, like a speed breaker. You think, you plan, you resolve, you feel ye hoga, waise hoga, and something happens or something takes over you, and that becomes a part of your repetitive pattern. And you wonder, why are you feeling so limited? Why are you feeling so worthless? Why do you feel that you are not good enough? Now, all this drives you into making choices which are not good for you, whether it is in relationship, whether it is in career or any other area of the life, including even your body. So, which is why the scope of hypnotherapy is to access your subconscious mind for empowering you, to making you aware, to making you come to terms with acceptance of what your life has been up till now, and get clarity to make a change and get charge of your life. Okay, so I'll go to what is this subconscious mind? As I already told you, it's 88 to 90% of your total capacity of the mind. I told you mind is not equal to brain. You get brain tumor, you don't get mind tumor. Okay, so mind is like a software, and that software itself has a huge part like a subconscious. So let's say mind itself is a computer, and that has something which is the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the programming mind. I'm talking of that part of the mind which is very dormant. Have you ever known how your subconscious mind is seen or felt? You know it, but you don't recognize it. So today, when I share these aspects about the subconscious mind, I'm going to give you clues of how to identify that your subconscious mind is taking over. And in most of the day-to-day lifetime, the subconscious mind takes over because you have no charge or no control. Or perhaps there is a part of that mind which is actually wanting to give you some information. And you don't want to look at it. And then it gets more worse. So it is that part of the mind which is always in an autopilot mode. You know, your respiration, your circulation, your digestion is all the time going on. That's one of the reason being is it's in charge of the subconscious mind is in charge of the involuntary functions. And it takes over everything that you are living. Plus, you also carry from childhood. Your first time when you learn to brush your teeth or to do a certain daily chore like bathing was first a conscious mind activity or taught to you. But as it became repetitive and it continuously was done in a certain way, that software of the mind, the subconscious mind, started putting it in your brain. So the right brain and the conscious mind, the left brain and the right brain are now getting imprint of the neuro pathway of the repetitive behavior. And this is where the beginning of the subconscious mind plays in your life. It goes into habit building. You know, we talk, I have good habit, I have bad habit. Because the outcome it gives, but habits are always habit, right? Which you do repetitively. You learned A, B, C, D because doing things repeatedly, right? If anything that you want to master is a skill, is something that you need to do daily, actively, every day, repetitively, it becomes a part of your behavior. So the subconscious mind is the one that is influencing your skill building ability. Secondly, It was also about your behavior, because your behavior is prototyped from childhood. So from a child, as the child is born, it does not have the conscious mind. It is born with something that it just soaks in as a sponge, and it receives all the information. And that's how the subconscious mind is the one that's actually acting like a sponge and taking in all the information from the surroundings and becoming a part of you and beginning to be like a mother, like a father, like the environment, or you start building up slowly your own response pattern. And that response pattern also becomes repetitive. And so it starts becoming your behavior. And by the time you're 8, 9, 10, it slowly starts becoming your nature or temperament, and it grows into a personality. What else is the subconscious mind known for? It's very childlike. Now you can understand why it's childlike, because when you are born with a mind, and that mind was just soaking in information. It was not analyzing at all. So it's very non-logical, non-judgmental. Child will never be judging anybody good and bad, right and wrong. It's only when the formation of the mind, the subconscious mind slowly gets inputs from the environment, which is coming from the society, from your immediate parents, immediate family, from society, teachers, that this child starts learning from the subconscious mind, develops a critical mind, which is again, I'm going to talk to you soon. But the subconscious mind per se continues to take in a lot of memories and information and experience. And how are those experiences? As in the form of visuals. I'm sure every one of you will remember something about your childhood as a visual, as an experience, your birthday party, or the day you went to your school, or the day you felt you were very loud and everybody appreciated you, something that you did. So the subconscious mind has a nature to store information and experience without any logic. Now here there is a benefit and a danger, because it will keep storing information, or it will just know what to do about it, which is why some people just develop unconsciously a bad habit, and some people can develop unconsciously good habit watching the elders and seniors around. And some people learn and they are taught. But the subconscious mind just takes in experiences, emotions, and energy. In fact, it's one of the areas which is bringing out creativity. Can you see as a child how creative and imaginative you are? I believe you are all students of textile designing, so you are someone who are really, really looking out to bring out your creativity. And some of you who feel sometimes stifling in creativity, stifled, because there is that part of subconscious mind somewhere perhaps blocked. Could be because of some reason, which we will see how it will proceed further with the further slides, and we'll understand that. So this is another nature of the subconscious mind. As I told you, it's an experience of the past, present, and future, right? And it has all the answers. Now, most of you are 20, 21, 22, 23 years of age. So you have different aspects of your life. You have career, you have your family, you have your relationships, and you have your body. And most of us start wondering, why is it this happening to me? Because you are going through some situations around you in any of these areas that I meant, and that doesn't make sense. I'm working hard, but I never really get what I want. I am so good, but people don't treat me well. I didn't mean this. I only just said it because I just spoke from my heart, but people perceive it differently. And then they keep betraying me. So subconscious mind is a reservoir of experiences, and it has answers and logical understanding for all the illogical situations, the why me syndrome. So it's the key to unlock all your confusion. In fact, this is one aspect that we very extensively use as hypnotherapists when people come to us with problems, because they don't know why they are suffering. And so we start with giving them an understanding of it cognitively first, and then we take them through a process. Okay. The subconscious mind is also linked with the life-sustaining functions. It affects predominantly the right brain and the autonomic nervous system. The autonomic is the fight-flight, which is why many a times people go through fight-flight response in the face of crisis, either a physical crisis or an emotional crisis. What happens? you go through a fight flight response. You might have heard this. I think many of you would be reading a lot on Insta pages about fight flight response, anxiety, how the fight response takes over, how you kind of get somatic symptoms of palpitation and perspiration and nervousness. And all these symptoms are also linked with subconscious, because subconscious mind, as much as it's a storehouse of information, it always wants to rescue. It wants to rescue the mind and the body. And that's how the autonomic or the automatic nervous system comes into play. And whenever somebody is traumatizing you, injuring you, insulting you physically or emotionally, mentally, the subconscious comes and takes up in the form of some kind of a symptoms. Either it brings up physical symptoms, which is presented as anxiety, or at times depression, and sometimes it speaks up things or it expresses a certain behavior. Sometimes you just kind of very contracted in your body language. You just become very cringing in your whole appearance because somebody asks a very, very, very hurtful remark, and then the behavior just shrinks thanks to subconscious. It's actually protecting you. So, my dear friends, anxiety and depression, they are definitely causing you pain, but they are actually meant to protect you from something that is unconsciously being traumatized. And hence, treating your anxiety and depression, which we very extensively do with hypnotherapy, is actually to come to the core of that anxiety. Because anxiety is just an expression thanks to subconscious mind coming as a survival strategy. Okay? You know what I will do? I will just share this diagram for a moment and I will take 5 minutes of pause, because I believe if I keep talking, and I don't know whether you all are listening, awake. So just have a good look at this diagram first. Can you see this? This whole circle indicates this is the mind, because mind is like an energy field all around you. And this is a graphical representation of the mind. I told you the conscious mind is 10 to 12%. Can you see this diagram? Subconscious mind is 88 to 90%. It is a hard disk of experiences, and it has one very important habit. The subconscious mind will take everything known is pleasurable, unknown is painful. And this is why, even if you want to make a change, you resist the change, because subconscious mind is always protecting you from anything uncomfortable. And which is why you don't step out of the comfort zone. So we teach the subconscious mind. Now, subconscious mind is like a child. You can actually maneuver it. And that's where you can change it, because somewhere your mind has prepared and said, no, the known devil is better than the unknown devil. How many of us say that in relationships, in making choices? And that takes us away from a big step, which is stepping out of the comfort zone. That's because the subconscious mind is little holding back to protect you. Now, this cases, you teach subconscious mind to step out of comfort zone and break free the limitations. Okay. Now, I also would ask you to, either you want to take a picture, you take a picture. And before I go ahead with the next topic, I would just want you all to tell me, how are you? Is this really, really helping you? And I realize I have just 15 minutes with all of you. So should I really go a little fast? Should I go slow? Should I just go with my speed? I just want some feedback here. Yes, ma'am. You're muted.
Yeah, ma'am, if possible, can you give them some practical tips of,
Yes.
how they can, come when they are experiencing any stressful situation?
Yes.
What necessary steps they should take to overcome that, or,
Sure.
maybe some practical tips.
I'm
Also,
going
I
to,
like the explanation about how anxiety and depression can be like a protector.
yes.
It is a very new perspective which I came to know. So I really would like to know more about it, but maybe sometime later.
Yes.
But I also want you, ma'am, to tell them, because this generation is very different, and they think that sleeping is something which is not. I don't know whether, and they sleep at odd hours, because maybe their mind is not in their control or whatever, I don't know. So if you can also elaborate on the importance of sleep and correct sleep and the other parameters of how they can have practical solutions on daily basis.
Perfect. So my next few slides are actually on that. Okay. So are they all awake? Are they all alert? That's important. Okay. All right. Let me just share this. So can you all see the slides? Can you see the slide? Just give me a thumbs up. Are you able to see the slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So I just now discussed the subconscious mind to give you how interesting that is. But there's also an interesting part is I told you the programming mind, the critical mind. Now this is formed during the formative years, which is from 0 to 8 years. So all the right, wrong, good, bad, and your belief systems, which are programmed and wired, are thanks to this mind, which is why certain experience feels good for you and certain feels not good for you. Certain things feels right for you, certain feels not right for you. It's different for different people. It's different even between twins because they are born from the same mother and father. So critical to your personality. Now this mind, if I show you this diagram, let me just go a little one. I showed you this diagram. Can you see this mind? I'm showing it with my arrow, right? Now this part of the mind is very critical because every day your information comes. Now once you grow, this is critical filter is 0 to 8 years. It's a filter. What would happen every day? The information comes from the conscious mind. So you all are paying attention. You're thinking, you're processing what I'm sharing with you. And from that, this will remain here for 1.5 hours. So all the teachers who are really upset that you forgot what I taught you is because it's a natural tendency of this mind to store information. Conscious mind can hold it for 1.5 hours max. And then it lets the information go to the conscious, critical conscious. The critical conscious will decide good, bad, or right and wrong. Maza aaya, nahi maza aaya, bore tha, acha tha, and correlate with how boredom and how good, how right and wrong is. In other words, the critical filter is the filter that filters the information coming from outside. And whatever that information comes now, every day, how much of information you get in 5 minutes? How much information? In fact, we are constantly listening to either, a podcast on our way. We are looking at things outside. We are also talking to a friend. We are sitting in either, a car or a bus or a train and feeling all that what we feel in the body, either cold or heat. So in a given moment, the conscious mind is taking a lot of information overload. Just as the processing unit has a speed, they have a speed, which is why we say how much fast this computer is going to work. The conscious mind also has a speed of taking information, storing it, and delivering it back to the critical filter. The filter will now take what is required. It will filter out and store information in the subconscious mind. So our subconscious mind is actually connected constantly to the conscious, the critical mind, and by itself. Whatever I'm saying right now, you're trying to understand. You're saying it's good or bad, right and wrong, useful or not useful, and storing it here. How you're hearing and how you're storing is very individual. Some people will remember the visual. Some people will process it by way of thoughts and emotions. Now, why am I harping on or focusing on this critical mind? Because the critical filter is taking the load every day in a given moment. And as much it is loaded, it will kind of give you a space to be at peace or not at peace. If you have information overload coming, then all the overloading from conscious mind will clog the critical filter and then nothing will go and nothing will go out, which is one of the reasons you get blank during your exams despite having studied everything and stored in the subconscious mind. So जब पढ़ने को बैठते हैं conscious mind सब कुछ ले लेता है और स्टोर कर देता है सबकॉन्शियस माइंड में. जब एग्जाम आता है तो क्या होता है? स्ट्रेस. सो व्हाट इज स्ट्रेस? Stress is information overload and clogging of the critical filter. So what happens in the stress? You forget, you go blank, because what happened in the stress? First and foremost, you didn't sleep the last night, right? Because you didn't prepare the whole year. So you would keep burning your midnight oil for all the exams, or probably you were chatting, or you were playing video games, or whatever it is. This is nothing to judge any one of you, but that's how we all do, right? And plus, we are taking so much of information from digital media, and we have so much inside us going on, the stress and the pressure. Plus, we have something our body is feeling deprived of. Nowadays, a lot of people don't eat the healthy food. All this deprives the conscious mind to really not process so many things at a moment, but it takes it so much and keeps giving it to the critical mind. It's unable to process because it's overloaded, and then it clogs the critical filter. And then you are feeling very anxious. Then you are feeling very nervous. Then you feel very sad that somebody is not speaking to you, or you're feeling very fearful. Now, this is what stress is. And when stress comes, it clogs the critical filter. And then when you sit in the examination hall, nothing goes out. And then you come out and say, ma'am, I prepared, I forgot. Or you can't even process a question, which is a simple question. And hence, what is required? Two things. We can't stop overloading information, but we need to regulate it. Okay. And secondly, we need to keep the critical filter clear. Is this clear? Let me go back. By the way, since your teacher wanted me to focus first on stress, I went to that in the context of that. But there are also natural hypnoidal states just before going to sleep and immediately on waking up. So what should you do every day to make sure, whether it is your exam or no exam, to use the natural hypnotic state? Before going to sleep, you must try to keep all the information inducing devices or situations away by simply focusing on the breath and taking some few deeper breaths to relax your body. You know how many times that you are connected to your body when you're on the device? So try to connect with your body. The body needs to relax. So the autonomic nervous system is not in a fight flight, and you are breathing in and out, relaxing and slowly making sure that how to remember your entire day, what happened. If somebody has hurt you, somebody has told something to you or something that you've not done, just breathe out and forgive yourself and forgive that person. Thank yourself and your body. That's the best way to close your day. What would happen? It will also give you an ability to sleep very effortless. A lot of people have habit of sleeping with the phone on, or sleeping while chatting, or chatting while sleeping. Now, this will not allow you to sleep very, very soothingly or smoothly. So what would happen then? Your critical filter will get blocked. Then what would happen? बिना मतलब का stress नहीं भी है तो भी आएगा, because when critical filter gets blocked, nothing goes in, nothing goes out, and the information gets overloaded. Either you're already overloaded it or you have clogged it. So you have to make sure that you regulate your information inside you and outside you. I mean, outside through you by restricting your output at least for 15-20 minutes before you go to sleep. Calm your mind. Now, calming the mind is keeping all these devices at least away and focusing on your breath and going over the day and breathing out all those painful emotions, which will now clear the critical filter. And if you really want to make it much more effective, close your day with a very beautiful thought. I wake up feeling refreshed, or I am getting ready for the next day, excited for whatever project that I have to do. And the moment you wake up is also a naturally occurring hypnotic state. You don't need to induce a hypnotic trance. It's naturally there. And then you just start your day with a positive affirmation. I'm sure everybody knows affirmations, right? So these are the good times to give affirmation. Do the gratitude, do the prayer, do the reflection, do your breathing exercise, and keep the information overload away and release excessive negative thoughts and emotions. So this is what I wanted to tell you, that hypnotic state occurs naturally. Even during the day, you are not aware you pass into trance. Which is why when you are on an autopilot mode, when you see the billboards, and on billboards are not on the roads these days, they are there on the phone. Swiggy, Instamart. This is how people unconsciously get into buying and binge eating. I'm not getting much there, but just to give you a little clue why it happens. Because you are unconsciously distracting yourself from information overload, something that is very painful also, and trying to just follow what your subconscious says, hey, let's eat. Now, here your subconscious mind is becoming your not a very good friend. But how to deal with it is exactly what we do in hypnosis sessions or hypnotherapy sessions. And sessions that we do, hypnotherapy sessions, are nothing to take you away. They're simply to just give you a complete relaxation with focused concentration inside. Where is inside? Into your subconscious mind. And somebody asked me whether anybody could be hypnotized. Anybody and everybody could be hypnotized, provided they are willing to. We are not taking away the control. We are simply facilitating the control from the conscious mind to your subconscious mind. So that whatever areas where subconscious mind is playing in a limiting way, we release the limitations. If it is not knowing how to work, we teach it, we train it. So these are the two primary functions. And where do we use hypnotherapy? For focusing, for concentration. I told you when to use it. Just before going to sleep, immediately on waking up is a natural hypnotherapy. You don't need a hypnotist. But of course, there are times where are complex situations that you definitely would want to take help from hypnotherapists. And we also give you ways to do it using self-hypnosis, where we teach you how to focus, how to concentrate, how to build a positive attitude, habit building, changing your habits. There are so many habits we all have, substance abuse. We have habits where we have device, addictions. We have food habits and so many other habits, nail biting. All these can be changed thanks to our ability to access the subconscious mind and changing the experience of subconscious mind, freeing it from all the trauma that caused it and retraining it. We are creating a neuro pathway for it. Time management, unlearning the limiting self-beliefs and limiting patterns, building up confidence and self-worth. Wherever people feel I am not good enough, well, it's just the matter of recognizing where you lost it from your subconscious space, because subconscious has all the library of experience. Which area of your childhood were you feeling all that? Where did you started concluding it? And then go and free yourself from that. And don't forget to affirm yourself every day that I'm worthy of everything that I deserve. There are a few affirmations you can practice every day. Each and every day, I am getting better and better. If you want to write it down, I'll slow it down. Or maybe I'll write it down and send it to you or share it with you later on. Each and every day, I feel better and better. I deserve everything that is good and nice for me to live a life of ease, joy, and glory. Right? Something I am worthy of all that I would like to enjoy in my life. I am good enough. I am confident. So start with simple affirmations in those states of the mind when you are in that hypnotic state just before going to sleep and immediately on waking up. Right? And then, of course, hypnotherapy has answers for all the chronic anxiety, panic attacks, fears, and phobias, and a lot of psychosomatic conditions, which is related to skin, hormonal conditions, all the premenstrual conditions. People have issues with the polycystic ovarian, all that, thyroid, and many other mental health disorders. I had actually prepared a little more of presentation on stress, but I had made it into a summary. I'm summarizing it again so that you can make a note of it. So the genesis of stress is information overload and critical filter clogging with disturbing emotions. And by the way, there's one very important thing that you can remember, that stress is not bad. There's a psychotherapist by the name of Hans Seiley, and he said stress is not bad. How many times that you feel exams are good, some people will say because it gives you a target. So it is not about stress is bad, it's your attitude to the stress that will make it good or bad. And where would the attitude come? From your critical mind, because how you have looked at stress. If you start looking at your exams as your study, as your career, in a way to meet challenges for your higher growth, you will be able to give your best. But the moment you see every time your exams or your submission as stressful, it's definitely going to be distressful and bad. Okay? So, stress, as I already told you, is overload of information and clogging the critical filter. But your belief towards how you look at it makes a whole lot of difference. And Hans Siley speaks about stress, something like a eustress, which helps you to meet challenges and gives you a feeling of sense of good enough. But a distress is something that you feel, no, I am not good, I am not capable. So work on those belief systems when you're working on your stress. How you look at your situation, how you cope with it. Where are you? Because most of the time stress is because I am here, but I'm thinking about there. I am studying, but I'm thinking, how would I do in my exam? Forget about that. Focus in the here and the now. Be fully present, because the subconscious mind can receive fully well then. Otherwise, a part of it is thinking in the conscious mind, part is subconscious mind. Everything that you are studying is going nowhere. It's not going in your subconscious. So be in the here and the now and learn to deal with it by relaxation. The more relaxed you are, the more subconscious mind gets a good way to give you something better to store. And the way you store is the way you come out. You know, we hear in computers, the last in is the first out. The way you put it just before going to sleep, close your day, recall everything that you've done. If you prepared for your exams, for your submissions, and the first thing that you will do in the morning is just take a quick recall while you're on the bed. And you will be able to take on your day, whatever that you have to carry out, projects, submissions, exams, anything. So the stress is also because you have a lot of pain between what should be and what actually is. Sometimes you have a lot of high expectations. Again, that comes from your critical mind, from parents, teachers. So again, that makes a lot of pain because you feel I am not good enough. They have expectations. So deal with that. Decoding stress is disempowering thought and emotion that makes you stressful. Your belief system makes it stressful, and how you deal it in the present moment will determine the degree of stress and its impact. Now, very important, pay attention. What are the remedies to handle the stress? Don't let your mind overload information beyond your capacity, or make mini lessons, because the mind can store some things in mini packets. So take a break after 45 minutes, come back, and then breathe and relax and put yourself there. How you train to look at situations, I already told you that. Belief systems. And sometimes you borrow beliefs. You know, there's a FOMO. You keep borrowing from either from your friends that this teacher or this subject or this career is not good enough, and you lose out on yourself. Or you have a belief that you are not good enough. So change those beliefs. Control your response to situation and people. One of the simplest way, of course, hypnotherapy helps a great way. I may not be able to take a practical experience here, but it's giving you an ability to relax and pause, to reflect and give a response, so that the response comes from a consciously thought of all that you require to give in the moment. Start and close your day on a positive note. Have gratitude and prayer. And as I told you, what goes in last comes first. So positive affirmations before and just going to sleep and on waking up. Or you give in self-hypnosis. And hetero-hypnosis is where somebody takes you into hypnotic trance and gives you affirmation. Self is where you give yourself the affirmations. Declutter your mind. Be present. You know, if the simplest thing to start paying to your subconscious mind, and your belief is, listen to your inner narrative. Listen to what you are talking. You are your best therapist then. Write it down, journal your thoughts, and then try to release that through breath work, because I believe you should detox all those negative thoughts and emotions, as well as give yourself time for short-term target. This I already shared with you how to do it. Reduce the number of shoulds and should not. Don't follow by what you should be. Do what I can. So should change into what I could. I can. and what can make it more easier, more fun, more empowering, adding value to me. Okay. Managing emotions is also something that is extensively done, because the more you manage your emotions, the more subconscious mind is free from negativity, and the more powerful it becomes for you to live out your life. And more higher energy vibrations is what you can live through in your day-to-day living. What I will do is, if you would like, I will share the PPT with all of you, and you can save it, or I can send the recording. And I know the last part I did go through a little quick, but I was watching the time limit, and I'm not aware of what is the cutoff time for me. So I think I would open the, I would invite everybody to ask me questions or share with me what they learned. It would be nice to really hear from everybody. What did they learn from each one of them? Just one line or just a feedback and a question. Do you have time, or are you done?
We can have 5 more minutes where they can ask you certain questions or share
Yes.
their feedback
Yes.
with you.
So let everyone get the mic to speak, so that at
Yes.
least one line of either a feedback or and share an experience or a question, whatever it may possibly.
So what I learned from this session is towards the last what you said, that I am the one who can help myself the best. So yes, I'll try to hear what I am thinking and analyze on it.
Excellent. So you can be in charge of your subconscious mind. Journal your thoughts and close your day well. Okay. Yeah. The next. Thank you.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
It was a wonderful session. And one thing that attracted me was the affirmation part, that how it helps us.
Mhm.
I do practice a little bit. So
And
it
practice
helps a lot.
more often. Practice more often, because the more you repeat, more it works, and especially the time of the day. Do it 21 times just before going to sleep and on waking up. Okay? Clue for you. All the best.
Thank
Hello, ma'am. The
Yes.
session was definitely lovely. The best part that I felt personally
Louder,
was.
louder, louder.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
The best part about the session, what I felt was about the sleeping, the breathing part, because I usually have a lot of problems while I have lots of thoughts going in my mind that I have to do this, but I haven't achieved the thing, so that keeps going on. So I will try to.
Please do that. When you go to sleep, keep everything away, relax your body. Shavasana is mild hypnosis, right? And clear your mind, declutter your mind of every day, write it down so that it goes into the book. You don't have to carry it into sleep. And when sleep is disturbed, you get more stressful, you get more anxious. So go with a very clear blank slate and wake up with an affirmation. That's the homework for you. Okay.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
It was a very good session.
Mhm.
And I really like the tips that you gave us about sleeping, because I have trouble sleeping. So it's very good to get something out.
Yes. So you will follow the pattern that I told you, right?
Yes, yes.
All the best.
Thank you, ma'am, for an amazing session. I got to learn a lot about subconscious and conscious mind.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you.
Hello, ma'am. Thank you
Yes.
so much for this wonderful session. Like, hypnotherapy sounds very intimidating, but it's like I'm happy to know that I can practice it in daily life. Thank you.
Absolutely. All the best.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.
Thank you, ma'am. It was a great session. I got to learn many more things to manage my stress.
Thank you.
So thank you, ma'am, for the session. As I've already read about the power of the subconscious mind, a book by Joseph Murphy, so I already know
Wow.
what power your mind, subconscious mind holds. But getting it from you was something like knowing more about it, how it is in sync with your stress level too.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the session. For me, hypnotherapy was more about that black magic and how, they dominate your subconscious mind. So this was a very different outlook towards it and a much more positive one. So thank you so much for the information. It was very insightful.
I am glad you shared. It's absolutely positive. Hypnotherapy is only for empowerment.
Thank you, ma'am, for the wonderful session. As I said that I want to know about hypnotherapy more. So here it was a very theoretical part, but the way you have categorized everything and some of the things very well, it made us easy to understand and to grasp things how subconscious mind works, how conscious mind works lesser than the subconscious mind. So about that, it was very great to hear from you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
My
Thank you.
pleasure. Thank you.
Yes. So, really, ma'am, it was really wonderful. And you have given some very simple and practical tips to the students. Of course, I'm sure there is more to this particular topic, which maybe in the due course of time we will dwell into. But otherwise, even for me as a teacher, I have learned a lot, that how your subconscious mind is important. And also from the student perspective, also, like from when as teachers, when we ask them, क्यों याद नहीं रह रहा है? What is wrong with you? I've told you multiple times to do this. So now I know that maybe, there are multiple reasons because of which even the students are not able to cope up or, or give their best, to be very honest. Because we see multiple times the students, in spite of having good capacity, they are not able to deliver a good output. That is because now I think even our social media scrolling and our mobile phone and information overload is the biggest reason. So as professors also, I think we should learn and slow down a little when it comes to delivering our classes and make it more practical oriented and make sure that that critical thinking, that clogging doesn't happen. So I will keep that in mind for sure.
That's so nice of you and so kind of you to be sharing this. And I'm glad. I'm really glad. I think the students and teachers really can get the most, and they can be much more now understanding each other. Teachers can understand students, students can also understand teachers, and I think study would become more interesting and not boring. It would be more interesting than social media if we really know how to use our mind and not misuse it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So actually, we are very thankful to Khushi for getting you as a resource person over here. This is a part of their curriculum where they learn different alternative health therapies or health strategies. As though they are design students, still in the current hour, there are so many challenges in the outside world that students have to be multitasking. So we give them a platform at their post-graduation level where they can get exposed to certain other alternative health strategies, which will help them not only in their personal life but also academics.
It's really
So,
nice. Yeah.
and later on, maybe in their professional life also. Like for example, we have so many students who are design students, but later on have become this NLP trainers and other programs. They have of course taken the training. So this is kind of multidisciplinary approach which we want to tell students, and therefore contacting the resource persons, the best ones in the field, and to get them. This all training is also needed. So Khushi has managed to do that, and we are very proud of her. So every week there is one student who gets, something, some tasks, some strategy to be explored.
That's a
So
very
thank
good
you,
idea.
Khushi. Thank you so much for.
Thank you, Kushi, too.
Yes.
Because she's been really sincerely following it up, and it was not very easy for her and coordinating. So
Yes.
Kudos
And
to Khushi
we
and
are very
everybody.
thankful to you, ma'am, for sparing your valuable time. I'm sure you must be very busy, but to come here, for 1.5 hour, it's really, we are very thankful.
I'm
I would
glad if
like
it has served.
Khushi to formally propose a vote of thanks before we close the session.
So, ma'am, on behalf of everyone, I would like to thank you for taking the session and sharing your expertise with us. Thank you so much, ma'am, for removing time for us and taking this session. It was very helpful and very insightful. It was even amazed about conscious mind. I was amazed a little bit about the subconscious mind. So yeah, it was a new learning for me, which I'll take home. So thank you, ma'am.
My
Thank you so
pleasure. Welcome and all the best to every one of you. And I pray that each one of you find your niche and make the most out of your mind and your life. Remember, mind mastery is the key to life mastery. So, whatever you do, give your best and make use of this understanding of the mind. And yeah, you are right there wherever you meant to be. Okay. Good luck.
And you took a picture.
Selfie.
Ma'am, 1
Yes.
minute.
Selfie.
Please come here.
Ma'am, we would like to take a selfie
Of
with
course,
you.
of course, of course. I would love to. I don't know how should I. You will be able to do it.
हाँ, मैं
I'll just
बोल
stop.
देती हूँ.